so many people are feeling overwhelmed because there are so many different tools nowadays, and self help tools, you name it, so many esoteric things that you could do, and people don't really know what else to do. And then I get it. I get it. It can feel really, really, really overwhelming. But also, these tools have survived. Well, not all tools are created equal, of course not. But a lot of these great tools have survived centuries, some of them millennia, because well, they're actually useful and because there is a deep truth inside of them. And that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about like how, I use these tools here to really help you, uproot your life and really help you get to know yourself, to help you unstuck yourself and to literally help you transform your life. So we're going to talk about some of my favorite tools that actually that I totally recommend because they work in your inner self, they reflect you back, and they help you understand yourself and the human experience. And today we're going to talk about this is not going to be trend based. Again, I'm not trying to say I'm anti trend, but I like to keep things grounded here on this platform. This is my purpose here. I don't want it to be you're not going to hear me talk about 90 humans. You're not going to hear any of these things. I think things are being overcomplicated. There's no reason for that. But again, it's part of the human nature. We like new stuff. We like new shiny toys. So I also understand why this is happening. But here, I like to keep things grounded and using a normal language without overcomplicating things. So we're going to talk about my some of my favorite tools. That is astrology. Hello, astrology has been around for thousands of years and way much longer than people actually do realize. And the tarot, again, a very, very ancient tool. Kabbalah, again, which is pretty much believed to be one of the oldest, if not the oldest, spiritual system. So I don't want you to think about this, is not about religion. We're not talking about religion. I don't talk about religion here. This is about spirituality. Kabbalah is literally an ancient system that talks to you about the rules of the law of the universe, all of those things that we can't see, but they exist the same way that there is, the gravity rule in the physical world, the same way you have a lot of different, mathematics formulas and stuff like that. Well, there is also a lot of rules on all the things that we cannot see, explaining to you how manifestation really works, explaining to you how energy works, things like evil eye or things like, why do you struggle so much to bring in money into your life? Why is it so easy for XYZ to have money? And reincarnation, soulmate, relationship, and there's a lot of universal rules that apply to all of us. Most of us don't know any of these rules, but they are actually affecting every single one of us on a day-to-day life. The same way that it's not because someone doesn't know the gravitational forces and then gravity is a thing. Let's say someone doesn't know gravity, they never heard about that. They don't, they never heard of that, doesn't matter. They're still affected by gravity in the physical world. So in the same way, our spiritual world and the unseen world works the same way. They affects us every day, even if we cannot see that, right? And and also another tool that I love to use is human design. I haven't really spoken about human design more on the channel here, the platform, but this is something that I've been studying and that I'm gonna start incorporating more and more and more. Um, of these tools. So I'd say like these are my main tools, I'd say. And of course there is the whole, channeling and things like that. But I'd say these are my main tools and they work together in my head. They work together. I can't really separate them. I like using them together. Now, let's talk about why these tools are often dismissed. They're dismissed because some people call them new age, people call them trendy, people call them not practical. Let me tell you, they are anything but not practical, okay? They each serve a purpose, and this is why I love them so much. So, and I also do think that social media is to blame here. I'm not gonna get political, but I really do think that social media kind of like watered them down a lot. This is why a lot of those very respectful systems are kind of dismissed, because social media has a way of just, of just watering down everything. Like, you have someone doing a random video on TikTok about, astrology, when the person doesn't really know that much about astrology. And then I feel like, anyways, I'm not gonna get into that. But I do believe that that's the reason why people nowadays are very, they're not as trusting, and rightfully so. I get it. We it's our responsibility to really make sure that you protect yourself and what you're consuming. So, and then, but there is a big difference between using these tools for entertainment or for self work, for entertainment or inner work. And I think social media literally um bastardize. I don't know why this word came in my head. I'm thinking about Game of Thrones. I don't know why. These tools, and use them as a key of entertainment, when to me these are not entertainment at all. These are very, very serious topic. So let's talk about what these tools actually do. So the core function, the core purpose, the main purpose, goal of these tools is to reveal patterns, not prediction. I'm not into prediction. Yes, I do. I don't mind doing things like, talking about transits, because to me, transits is just like, the way the movement in the sky and the way the cosmos is pretty much talking to us, and the energies of the cosmos and how they affect us. The same way, when there's a full moon or when there's a new moon, the same way that you'd see like the body oceans, like the water would, like the tide will raise, the tide would fall down. These things, the same way, all of the activities in the sky, they do have an impact on us. The same way that you could see the full moon really impacts the ocean. And then also during the full moon, we tend to be a bit moody, because again, we're made of like mostly water. So scientists can't really quite agree on how much water we have, but I often hear between 75 to 90%. But it's no surprise that the cosmos does affect us like that, because we're all energetic beings. So I like to use these tools as, patterns to help reveal patterns, and to help us map energy, because we are energetic beings. We're literally a soul having a human experience. So it's pretty much nothing but energy. We are eternal. Our soul never dies. So that's why I really connect with these tools so much, right? And I like using them to help us understand our behavior, and also to help us understand conditioning, various ways we were conditioned, and to help decondition ourselves. So that, would also helping them, also using them to help us bring consciousness, into being aware of the ways we think, because so many things like are like deep in our subconscious and we don't really think about them. And because again, my teacher always says, my so many of my teachers, and especially my teacher at the Kabbalah Center at the Ravberg, all of, from all of his videos, all of his training, he always talks about how consciousness is everything. So if you're gonna start anything, you have to have the consciousness there. Consciousness is that one thing we can't see, but it's that one thing that affects everything in our lives, And so that's how I like to use these tools. Let's start with one of my favorite. Actually, I think they're all my favorite, but astrology especially has like a very unique, special place in my heart. I like to use astrology to understand your genetic makeup, pretty much, like your energetic makeup, understand how you made, because again, every single one of us comes here with a blueprint. By the way, if you haven't done so already, I talk about it all the time. You can get a birth chart reading with me. That way you can understand how you came into this world with your own map, and what is it telling you? What did your soul came here to do? All of this is written on the, all of you have so many clues and so many pointers right there on your own personal map. So astrology, I like to use it like that, and it helps you see also life themes, emotional and psychological pattern, things that you're doing, why you're getting so stuck. I literally recorded an episode on your south nodes and how it keeps you stuck, all of these things, and various cycles of growth and challenges. This is why I like to use astrology. And really the goal is always to for self acceptance. It's never to shame you. I don't partake in that thinking. It's always for self acceptance. Once you know yourself, then you can apply a strategic growth, instead of just applying brute force or moving in the dark with no clue, right? Because when you have a map and you know what you're working with, then it's easy to make adjustment and positive adjustment rather than just going blindly in the dark. And I like tarot because I really see tarot as a conversation with our subconscious. Now, most people don't really understand how the tarot work. There's still an element of this divine intelligence who gifted us with all of those different tools. To me, it's no different from medical science, how doctors, how we know all these knowledge and doctors can use them in their crafts to help, save lives and stuff like that. I see these tools exactly the same way, except with being on the physical level, they're on the energetic level and they're on the soul level. So to me, this is how I see tarot. And I see it as a mirror. I don't like using it as a fortune telling. I think this is why tarot had such a bad rep. To me, tarot is a mirror because I think we're still like energetically, kind of like we're all energetically linked together because there's so many like pathways that we can't see. There's this cool video I saw a few years back on Instagram when I was still there on Instagram, where they were showing us all these energy points in our body, and they were showing like two people kissing, but they didn't show the skin and all that stuff. They only showed the energy points, and then you would see like the transfer of energy and how the entire body lit up. And I thought it was so cool, and I like that we're having more and more of these type of content to kind of like raise awareness and for us to start understanding that we are energy beings clothed in this human flesh suit. You know what I mean? So this is how I like using tarot. So tarot, I like it because I find that tarot reveals like so many inner blocks. It reveals emotional truth that you don't want to see, but they're right there in front of you, and current like energetic states and limitations, stuff like that. And tarot really helps support your transformation in so many ways because it can help you clarify some decisions, some stuff that you don't want to see, and it bring honesty without bypassing. Let me tell you, last time I went on the date, like the one date I went on, and like and it's crazy. I pulled some cards, and the cards were so brutally honest, and it didn't end up working out. Very very quick I was able to be like, no, we're not aligned, forget it. I wishing you good luck and I'm going my separate ways. But the cards literally picked up on all of these things, and when I pulled the card, I was such in denial. I didn't want to see that. I was just like, no, that's not what I want to see. No, no, no. But it was absolutely fascinating to me how the card just pick up on the energies and they deliver messages. I literally do believe that those messages are from the creator, whatever you call it, the universe, the higher power, the light, God. Doesn't matter. For me, it's all the same thing. But I do believe that once you invite, you ask for help from the highest power, um, for the greatest good of all, I do believe that the cards do talk to you and they help guide us. So this is how I think like tarot is so beautiful like that. And then I also like to like for me, Kabbalah is also another tool, but it's like the tool. It's like the foundation that you know is like the driving force, the guiding force, and then the other tools are tools that I use to bring up that to help bring light into the world. But for me, Kabbalah is literally is the core of everything because it explains everything. Like I said before, it explains how the world works, and it explains like what are we doing here, humans, what's the point of life, and all of those big questions. And so I use this as the spiritual system. And even if I'm not here to convince anyone to do anything. Kabbalah is not a religion. Again, it's spirituality, but I mention it because it's the guiding force behind everything I'm doing. And technically I love it because it's just I do believe that as humans we need to have some sort of spirituality, otherwise this is how we just get lost. There's so much distraction out there, so it's good to have this straight line, this guiding force that is helping keeping you sane and make sense of everything and understand that there's still a method to the madness. And I personally believe that all of these tools work best together. Like I said, Kabbalah, human design, and tarot, because they each do something different. For example, astrology, like I said, I use it to help understanding the energetic makeup of you, and understand, like, give you an understanding of what is the goal here for your soul. What is the game plan? What is your soul trying to, what's the mission? And tarot, I like to use it, as a way to get things moving, like to connect with your intuition, with your truth, the same way that I would do channeling. This is the same way I use tarot. And Kabbalah to me is, again, like I said, it's the spiritual system that guides everything. And then human design is the energetic. It's how you use your energy. So we use Kabbalah to understand who you are, how you made up, and how all you unique, the ways that make you unique, because everyone's unique. And then I like human design because it's very specific, telling you what is the best way. Now, based on your makeup, what is the best way for you to use your energy on a day-to-day life? Get it? So this is how they all work really, really well together. They're not contradicting each other. This is why a lot of time you'd see, some people kind of like mix up a lot of things together. It's because once you start understanding the language, they all work together, because, like I said, I believe they're all from the same source, from the creator, kind of to help guide us in our journey on this planet, in this simulation, in this matrix. So together, the goal is to raise your awareness. It's to help you really grow, do, like, self work without making it be woo woo, but we're like grounded into real tangible things. And most important of it all is that it's tailored to you. It's tailored to you. It's not generic self-help, top five listicle, do this, do that. It's literally guidance that is targeted, that is made a measure for you. Just like you go to the tailor and then make a suit, you go to the dress, I mean, to the, how do you call that, the seamstress, and then make a dress exactly on your personal, body dimensions. So this is exactly how I see that. And it helps you really start living your true, like, just work on so many challenges that you have. It helps you understand patterns, why you did things that you did in the past, make sense of them, and then that way you can move forward. So this is how I use them. Again, you can always book a birth chart reading with me, and also like human design. And I also do tarot reading. I also like mixing them up together. So all of the links will be down below. But I just wanted to make this episode today so people can understand have a better idea about how there are so many tools out there to help you. And no, it's not about trend. Yeah, there's a lot of trend out there, but these tools that I'm talking about, the tools that I use, are tools that have been proven over for millennials. Like, astrology has been all around the world in some shape or form, and it's pretty much all it's all the same idea. Like, you have Chinese astrology, you do have, like, it's the point is, astrology has survived the test of time for a reason, right? And human design is more recent than that, but human design is also based on the same, it also takes your birth chart. I mean, your birth date, not your birth chart. It takes your birth date and your time of, your location. So it takes all of those data and mixes up a lot of different systems. And honestly, people always say how accurate human design is, but then again, all these tools are there to help you understand yourself, because if, like, the thing is, your soul already knows everything, but when we're sent here in this life, we forget everything. So the journey is remembering and finding ourselves, that way we can do the mission that we came here to do. So all of these tools are here to help you uncover yourself, but the truth is already inside of you. We just need to go in there and excavate, so we can pull out, all the truth, and so you can start living a life of alignment. On that note, my love, I will see you in the next one, and keep shining bright like a diamond. I'll see you later. Bye.